The NFL just hit Week 10, and I'm bringing you guys another daily video about the NFL. So if you guys like more content like this, please make sure to subscribe and like the video. In today's video, I'm bringing up predictions for the rest of these games on the Sunday and Monday slate. So make sure you guys like the video, and then I'll just have my slate pulled up right here, and we will get into all the predictions and notables. So I want to go over the Thursday night game that already happened. The Colts beat the Titans 34-17. This was pretty surprising. It was a really tight game throughout the entire game, and then a couple of big turnovers for the Titans that led to the Colts scores, and then it was a blowout-looking game. Phillip Rivers had a nice bounce-back week from last week. Derrick Henry is starting to be a little more faulty, but definitely trust in King Henry. And yeah, the Colts take atop that division now with the matchup lead on the Titans and the same record as the Titans. So definitely a very interesting division to watch coming down the stretch into the playoffs. So now we're going to get into the Sunday and Monday games. I'm going to make my predictions for them, come back on Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to come back and I'm going to release a video going over those predictions and what went wrong, what went right. So Texans versus Browns on Sunday at noon Central Time. This is an interesting one. I think the Browns will pull it out. Without Odell, that is tough. They lose their number one wide receiver. Even though he didn't put up great stats, he did attract a lot of number one corners. So that was something that they had to lose for the Browns. But Texans have been playing a lot better lately. But the Browns expect Nick Chubb back, and for that reason, I expect the Browns to win this one. Kareem Hunt is a million times better and more efficient when Nick Chubb is there. So I expect Nick Chubb to have a great game coming back. Nothing spectacular, but I expect them to stick to the run game. Baker Mayfield won't do too horrible like that. Won't do too horrible like that, and I expect the Browns to pull it out 21-14. Moving on from this, we have the Washington football team versus the Lions. Two pretty bad teams that aren't like the worst in the league. Terry McLaurin is a really good wide receiver, and for that reason, I think Washington, the last 3 weeks have looked a lot better. So I expect Washington to just keep it going, because I don't really see a definitive reason why either one of those teams are better than each other. So Washington's got the hot hand right now. I guess Washington will just pull this one out against the Lions. I expect it to be somewhere around the 20s, because that's what Washington's been putting up every week. They put up like 20 last week, 22 the week before. So I'll just say 24 for Washington, 21 for the Lions. Fair win for Washington. Moving on from that, we got the Jaguars versus the Packers. This will be an absolute slaughter. As you could expect, the Packers will win something like 45-10. Eagles versus Giants, another just terrible game that nobody wants to see. I got the Eagles in this one. Carson Wentz might have a good game. That's why I'm picking them. I'm going to say that he has a good game, even though he probably won't. But it's the NFC East, so anything can happen in the worst way possible. Miles Sanders is coming back, so I guess the Eagles will have the upper hand in this one. Buccaneers versus Panthers. See, now here's an interesting game, right? The Buccaneers are coming off a terrible performance. The Panthers are coming off really well performances. So it'll be very interesting to see how those match. Obviously, the Buccaneers are more talented, but the Panthers now have Christian McCaffrey back. And you know what? I'm going to say that the Panthers having Christian McCaffrey back will push the Buccaneers to the fourth quarter to like where they're losing. But at the end of the day, I think the Buccaneers win this one, because Tom Brady off of a bad week, that's scary if I'm an NFL defense. So I got the Bucs in this one. We'll say 38-35. It's going to be super high scoring. Broncos versus Raiders, a nice AFC West matchup. That won't really affect the division, but it will affect the wild card. So Raiders have been playing really well lately, as well as the Broncos. Both of them have gotten some wins lately. I'm going to say the Broncos keep it rolling in this one. Jerry Jeudy's had a great second half of the season. So for that reason, I think the Broncos win this one. I don't think it'll be as pretty. I think there'll be a few turnovers. Derek Carr won't have a great game. But with Drew Lock and Jerry Jeudy, I think that the Denver Broncos will pull out a win here. I'm going to say, we'll say 21-10. Chargers versus Dolphins. This is one of the more interesting ones because the Dolphins have been incredible lately, but the Chargers have Rookie of the Year Justin Herbert. Their run core is getting better without Eckler. Their defense has looked solid until the fourth quarter. So it's really hard to bet against the Chargers, but then at the same time, it's really easy to bet against the Chargers because they can't pull out any wins. They just play really, really well. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. They just beat the Cardinals, so I think it'd be stupid not to go with the Dolphins, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win. But I'm going to say Dolphins 31-20. Moving on, we got the Bills and the Cardinals. This one's also interesting. Two very, very good teams. I think the Cardinals are going to pull this one out. Josh Allen's coming off a great week, but he hasn't really been keeping the momentum going, so I'm going to say Kyler Murray keeps it going. He's definitely an MVP candidate this year, so I'm going to roll with him. We're going to say 27-24. I think that one's really going to be close, and honestly, if you pick the Bills, I'd not call you crazy at all. Seahawks versus Rams. I think the Seahawks are going to blow them out. I don't think the Rams have as high-powered of an offense as they should. The only thing holding back the Seahawks is their defense. I think it's going to be like 45-35. Super high scoring, ridiculously high scoring. But 45-35 Seahawks. Moving on, 49ers Saints. Michael Thomas being back. Alvin Kamara doing what Alvin Kamara does. Emmanuel Sanders will probably be back. I say that the 49ers lose this one just like they did to the Packers. It's not really that it's their fault, but they're just out-talented at this point with Jimmy G, George Kittle, Raheem Mostert possibly being out. So, yeah, I'm going to say Saints 35-14, a lot like the score you saw in the Packers versus 49ers game. Bengals Steelers. I say the Bengals actually get really close with this one. I hated what I saw from the Steelers last week, and the Bengals are taking down really well put together teams. I think this one's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be like 17 or something like that, but I still got the Steelers bringing it to 10-0, which is ridiculous, or 9-0 I think for them. Ravens versus Patriots. This is always a great battle that they have every year. I think the Ravens will win this one. Lamar Jackson still hasn't had his breakout week. Maybe this is the week. Patriots defense is still pretty solid, but I think it'd be hard to bet against the Ravens, and it'd be hard to bet for the Patriots. I mean, they're barely beating the Jets. So, Vikings-Bears is the Monday night game, the final game. Another interesting one, saying the Vikings have been rolling lately. Dalvin Cook's been touching the ball a ton. He's getting a ton of touchdowns. Actually, Dalvin Cook has as many touchdowns as Lamar Jackson. So if you're a Dalvin Cook fantasy owner, you're winning right now. But the Bears have struggled a lot. Allen Robinson's been like the only bright spot on that team. I'm going to say the Vikings win this one, pretty much knocking the Bears out of the division race. I'm going to say Vikings 27-24. I think I said that score before, but I mean, they don't have to be different. Yeah, Vikings beat the Bears. To go back through, I got Vikings, I got Ravens, I got Steelers, Saints, Seahawks, Cardinals, Dolphins, Broncos, Buccaneers, Eagles, Packers, football team, Browns, and obviously the Colts are all winners in Week 10. If I mentioned your team and you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. Drop your comments on what you think will happen, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.